Her heart knocked against her ribcage, wanting out of her chest as badly as the scarecrow had wanted to get inside the house. She took a slow, deep breath. For a long moment, she stood there propped against the door, her entire body shaking. She was afraid to move, to make a sound, to think about what had happened. Maybe the scarecrow had left. She needed to know for sure. Cautiously, she settled her forehead against the door, with her eye lined up with the peephole. The scarecrow's face, distorted by the lens, filled her view. His eyes glimmered green. Weren't his eyes brown before? In the half-cone of light created by the porch bulb, she might have mistaken brown for green. Hell, she might have mistaken up for down when the scarecrow jumped her. He leaned forward, his green eye staring back at her through the hole as if he saw her. She swallowed against the tightness in her throat. The shimmering of his eyes was preternatural. His body convulsed. He squinted and chewed his lip, oblivious of the blood trickling down his chin. His eyes glistened. Was he crying? His body convulsed again. In the wake of the tremor, he stilled and tensed his body. All expression vacated his face. Maybe the drugs had worn off. Without a sound, seemingly in slow motion, he hurled himself at the door. The concussion slammed her forehead into the wood. She stumbled backward and lost her balance. For the second time tonight, her buttocks hit the floor hard. She shouted a wordless cry of pain. Footsteps clapped outside, fading as the scarecrow fled the vicinity. And just like that, it was over.
He returned to blackness. They shut off the lights when he traveled. He'd given up asking why a long time ago. They would only refuse to answer. That's classified, they'd say, as if they were secret agents. These jerks liked to pretend they worked for the CIA or the military, spouting terms that meant nothing in the private sector, treating him like a prisoner. No, they viewed him as more of a slave than a prisoner, someone who obeyed their commands without questioning, without thinking, like a robot made of flesh and blood. "I'm back," David announced. The electrode wires tickled his arms. The chair felt cold, hard. When he shifted position, the straps around his ankles, wrists, and forehead chafed his skin. The lights came on in a burst of white. He blinked in the sudden glare. One of the technicians jiggled the doorknob from the other side. It had become a ritual. They jiggled the knob before entering the room to ensure that he hadn't pulled a Houdini, unlocking the door and escaping without triggering any alarms. Next, they'd peek through the tiny window set into the metal door, in case he'd somehow manipulated the surveillance cameras into displaying an image of him seated in the chair while, in reality, he hid near the door, waiting to ambush them. Never mind that he knew nothing about cameras or alarms and had no clue how he might manipulate those devices. Finally, with reasonable assurance of their safety, they would enter the room accompanied by 2 armed guards. Never knew, he might spontaneously acquire superhuman strength that allowed him to break the leather restraints, leap the 15 feet from his chair to the door, and butcher them all with his bare hands. They thought he was an animal. In some respects, they overestimated his abilities. Yet, in other ways, they underestimated him. They had no conception of what he could do if he chose to. If they knew, they'd realize no precautions would protect them.